What's going on, guys? In today's video, I decided that I would show you a rather extremely cheesy early game build that you can get in Demon's Souls that will essentially carry you through the entirety of the game for the most part. In this particular setup and in this one level, we are going to get end game armor, a ton of souls that will let us jump to soul level roughly 25 or so, and also pave the way for essentially the remainder of the game and get you off to a huge start. So what we're going to do here, and before I even get into that, the main inspiration behind this video was I have a lot of friends who picked up the PlayStation 5 and they ended up getting Demon's Souls, and they basically dropped it after a while saying it was too hard, boo-hoo. And honestly, I used to be one of those people. However, there came a time when I decided that I was going to, quote, get good, and I sat down and I grinded through Dark Souls 3 for over 60 hours and finally beat it. And I gotta tell you, the adulation and the joy that I experienced beating that game was just unparalleled to anything I ever felt. So I then continued to play through the remainder of the Soulsborne Sekiro series, and I've enjoyed every step of the way. So hopefully this video will inspire those who are, a little dismayed, a little bit unfortunate, and aren't really that great at these kinds of games, because the atmosphere is beautiful, the lore is incredible, the storytelling is fantastic, and I just hope this inspires you to give it another try and revisit it, especially since I'm giving you kind of a big, huge head start in this game. So the level in which we get all this super high-end stuff and all these souls is actually the first one, 1-1. It's the level that you absolutely have to beat in order to level up. You can't level up or get stronger until you conquer this level. And I like that as far as a level design standpoint, because it's kind of like a litmus test, a way to tell the player, it doesn't really get any easier than this. And even if you have the greatest build ever, it still requires just a tad bit of skill. But at least in Demon's Souls' sakes, it's, easier to take advantage of enemy AI and derpy mechanics. So that's why I encourage, if you ever want to try to get through and beat a Souls game, I would highly recommend starting with this one. So what I did, I created a character. I used the royalty background when you create the character, because you get a ring that constantly replenishes your magic points, gives you a spell off the bat that's outstanding, because range is just so strong and magic is so strong, especially in the early game. And you can see me using it here as I'm doing this walkthrough of 1-1, where I'm just constantly bombarding people at range with my spells. Occasionally I'll get a little frisky and try to do some backstabs and parries and stuff. You can see I took some damage there, which was just really shameful. Anybody who's played through the first level knows that you die and get sent to the Nexus. And when you're in this soul form, you get a, you're at half health. But we're going to get an item that'll help us with that in just a little bit. I'm fast forwarding a little bit just to speed up the gameplay while I'm talking you through this particular area. These soldiers got a little fresh with me and tried to drop fire bombs and, whatever. So I'm just clearing through 1-1, basically going about my business. And as long as you take your time with this and you spam your spells to your heart's content, essentially, you'll get through this with really no trouble at all. Like, just dropping range spells is just so incredibly strong in this game, especially early. And that's basically what I'm doing here in this first area here for 1-1. Watch out for the boulder trap there. And a lot of people say, don't try to play online if you're trying to be easy. I love playing online, especially in soul form, because you can't really get invaded in soul form. All right, so what I'm doing here, I'm on the little mezzanine here, the rampart, if you will, with all the catapults and trebuchets. And what I'm doing is clearing out area for what I'm going to do in just a little bit. But first we have to meet an NPC in order to get my thing. But you can see me here in this particular area, I'm breaking all of this trash and this, making sure that the way is clear for me. So I'm going to climb all the way down the tower, eliminating all the enemies. I do cut the chains there because there's a couple of very key items you get, and a ornament that you get that helping out my homeboy Stockpile Thomas. But when I open up this ring, this gate here at the bottom of the first tower, I get an item called the Cling Ring. The Cling Ring, if you notice, my health now is at 75%. As long as you have the Cling Ring equipped, even if you're in soul form, you get 75% of your max health instead of just 50, and that just carries you through the entire game. So that's going to be essentially a required equipment slot. So going through the fog wall here, we come up to our main man, Ostrava of Boletaria. And he seems to be in a bit of a pickle because all of these little wayward scum buckets have kind of just, have him stranded up on that little mezzanine, and you're offering to help him out because he's a good kid. He's a little knight trying to be all noble and stuff, trying to see his father, and you're just going to clear out that horde for him. So that's nice. Don't do what I did and just jump in the fire like a moron, because had I not decided to heal just a few moments ago, that would have killed me, and that would have really upset me and completely ruined my day, to be sure. So what we're going to do is we are going to follow our main man Ostrava, as he's going to clear out a lot of the enemies for us. So we'll try to speed up a little bit through most of our just journey around this particular area of 1-1. And again, just like normal, just take your time with the enemies. Ostrava's going to just do a lot of the heavy lifting for us. We get all the soul credit for this as well. So we are gaining all the souls while Ostrava kind of does all the heavy work and supports us as we gank all of these enemies and just clearing out this particular area here. The one major dangerous part here of 1-1 we're cutting up to is that area behind those wagons, because you can get ganked pretty hard, and I end up getting ganked in just a little bit anyway because they kind of follow me, which is unusual. Usually they turn around and run away, but you can see I kind of got frisked a little bit by the low-life dreadlings there. So I'm just equipping some fire bombs, and I'm just trying to make life a little bit easier, clearing stuff out. Boom, boom, bang. Ostrava still being Ostrava, clearing stuff out for me like the good homeboy that he is. Look at him, like 3 in 1 hit with that rune sword. It is just so strong, so great. For the beginner, especially those who are still learning to play the game or aren't very good at the game, let him do the lifting for you. Just let him be the homeboy until his worthiness has usefulness has outlived itself, and you stab him right in the back. Ha ha! Top 10 anime betrayals right there, baby. And he just kind of walks it off like, oh, you probably hit that on accident. No, I didn't, fool. So now Ostrava's dead. And he has an item called the Mausoleum Key. And this is where really the souls tend to pour in. So with the Mausoleum Key, we are going to do a little bit of backtracking, and I believe I've probably installed a few cuts at this point to get to where we need to be for the next section of our adventure. But basically, we're going to go back to the rampart up on the second floor of the tower, and we're just going to do a little bit of backtracking to get there. And we are going to head back across the opposite end of the ramparts. Here's the part where I got kind of super ganked, and I was like, seriously? How many of these guys did Ostrava not kill? Gosh, he was just useless, man. Useless. So as I'm making my way over there as well, again, just like any beginner with spells, just make sure your catalyst is equipped. I should probably specify that too. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the game, you have to have a catalyst equipped to cast the spells with the royalty. You start with one, and it's a really good one. Silver Catalyst is pretty solid, and you'll be able to sling spells around, provided you have the magic points for it. There's a guy there that bombs, and oh my god, I can't believe I survived that. I was just counting my lucky stars. I should have been dead there too. But fortunately, I survived, and I backtracked all the way to the other end of the rampart, which has a big, ugly Red-Eye Knight. This dude will ruin your day. He will wreck your wheelhouse. So you're going to draw aggro. You're going to get him to chase you. Just keep staying away. He's melee only. He doesn't have any ranged attacks, so you don't need to worry too much about that. But you just keep pulling him back, pulling him back. Sometimes he'll try to like lose interest and go back to put his finger in his butt, but you got to just wave at him and be like, hey, I'm still here. And eventually I'm going to speed it up again. I'm going to throw some spells at him just to make sure that he's still awake. You can see that spell did like no damage. So I don't even think he blocked it. It was just straight up 3 damage. Deal with it. I'm going to take him to the opposite end of the ramparts, and I'm going to walk down this stairwell, and I'm going to go behind this fence, and he is just going to fall to his death. Boom. Look at that. He watched that first step. It's a doozy. So he ends up just dying. Sometimes he'll follow you all the way down to where you were by that wooden fence, but then as soon as he goes to make a lunging attack from there, he will fall to his death anyway, and he's worth 2,000 souls. So I essentially doubled my souls just from that enemy alone. Now I'm making my way back across the rampart to the area that he was so faithfully guarding, which happens to be a mausoleum. And along the way, I'm unequipping my right weapon and I'm practicing the headbutt. The headbutt is basically a just tap forward and R1, and you just do this headbutt. And you're going to see why that's so important in just a moment. So we enter the mausoleum here, and here sits Old King Doran. He is... You thought the Red-Eye Knight would ruin your day? This dude will penetrate you ass to skull if you let him. So he challenges you, says, come fight me, bro, and if you can prove yourself, I'll give you a sword. So cool, whatever, let's do that. In normal gameplay, you have to drop his health to below 25% or so, and he eventually just yields and gives you the sword. You can keep trying to kill him for his armor set, but he becomes very angry and very aggressive. All of his attacks essentially one-shot you. He's kind of the guy that you wait until the very, 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 very end of the game before you fight the final boss. What I did here was when he drops aggro and turns around to walk away, especially after he attacks, he doesn't attack anymore. And so what you can do is you can do the spam headbutt. So flick forward on the joystick, on the left stick, and hit R1. And you do this headbutt that kind of shoves him back a little bit. And I am just shoving him all the way across the rampart. Normal game speed, this took me roughly 3.5 minutes, so it is kind of a chore, but it kind of like guides you to where you want to go, and where we're going is that stairwell that Red-Eye Knight fell to. The reason why I cleared all of the junk a moment ago, you could just see I just headbutted him off, killed him, tons of souls, big souls, oh yes. But the reason why I cleared the rubble earlier on the top of that rampart in that barracks area is because if there's any kind of breakable rubble, he automatically attacks. And again, any hit, he could sneeze on you and you will die. So, you know, that's why I tumbled around and cleared that area out. So with that, I gained like 27,000 souls. I got his ancient armor set, which is the best, like some of the best armor in the game. And I got a ring, which is okay. It basically increases direct damage that you take, but reduces like area of effect damage. So it's all right. It's not really something I'm going to really concern myself with. I was here for the souls, and I'm also here for the armor set. The sword, in case you were wondering, that he was guarding if you return to the mausoleum like I just did, is the Demon Brand. This sword can be crazy powerful if you know how to power it up. This sword increases in power based solely upon your character tendency. Character tendency is kind of a mechanic in Demon's Souls. The closer you are to white character tendency, so doing nice things and good for the NPCs, the stronger Demon Brand gets. And it can get crazy powerful. This could probably be your final build if you wanted to grind up to pure white character tendency. To do that is a little tricky because you need to rely on a buddy to invade you constantly as a Black Phantom for PvP, and then just basically let you kill him over and over again, because killing invading phantoms increases your character tendency. And then you can max out Demon Brand from there, and voila, you've got a max build right off the bat. The only thing you need to do, however, is jack up your endurance so that you can get under 50% equip capacity with Demon Brand, and then up your strength and dexterity a little bit to be able to wield the weapon around. And then just like with any level, I skipped right to the end because I don't want to ruin like any of the, boss fights and spoilers and stuff for you. But if this video does get a little bit of attention and likes and you want to see it, I can definitely do strategies based on every single level of Demon's Souls. I'd be more than happy to do it, but the attention has to be there for me to want to do it. But basically, the final thing I'll leave with before I wrap things up is at the end of every level, when you finish a boss fight, I always do this in order. I store my stuff with stockpile, especially things I don't need. I buy and equip and upgrade and repair my gear with the blacksmith, and then I consume all of my other consumable souls to straight up level up. And you can see here, I started at soul level 1 at the very, very beginning of the game, and with Old King Doran's soul cache that he just got me, and as well as the boss soul, which I'll end up consuming, you can see I start straight up to soul level 21, which is just absolutely bonkers. To give you an idea, you could do like any of the second part stuff at soul level 20. You could pretty much go straight through World 2 with what you've got there and what you would get eventually. I am going to buy a heated shield from Blacksmith Baldwin there because it has 100% physical damage absorption, which is just insane. It's so strong. And then and now after I jacked up all of my endurance, I'm going to go ahead and equip my ancient armor set, so that I should be completely filled out with that. The only other main statistics I upped are intelligence, which up to 3 spell slots, because I'm going to be picking up eventually the ward spell, as well as the soul ray, which takes 3 whole spell slots to use. And, you know, you get those later on, and those are just nice to haves. But if you end up picking up Ward, which is what you use to convert the Tower Knight, the World 1-2 boss soul, to Sage Frake, if you rescue him in World 3, it gives you Ward, and that reduces physical damage by 75%. And with Old King Doran's armor and that Ward, and having a Crescent Falchion or something, or magical weapon that you would get. The Crescent Falchion is what I would recommend in 4.1, and again, I would more than happy talk about how to pick up that item and do more of these in the future. But you'll be able to make the Flame Lurker fight a absolute joke. It's just hilarious to see him do like no damage to you. So that's pretty much the final build. You're pretty much golden at this point. You're free to go about and continue on. The only other thing like I would recommend doing is dying in the Nexus, because if you die in human form in any of the levels, the world tendency for that area shifts towards black, and that means the enemies are much tougher. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe, and be notified when I post more videos, and I hope to see you in the next video. So until then, I hope you all had a great new year, and I'll see you next time.